What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Shot of Sports podcast, where we'll break down and do a deep dive on the world of sports. Whether you're a casual fan or a diehard, we're here to bring you the latest, the best analysis, and the hottest takes. I'm your host, Jalen Nicholson Bourne. Please like, share, and subscribe. Even comment and smash uh, the the notification bell on the left or on the right, so you can be notified whenever we drop, so you won't miss one. Today we have on the show Drew Best. Are you how's it how's the last week, man?
It's been good. I mean, it's kind of a little bit more even keel after the draft up here in Green Bay. People are starting to settle back in. Otherwise, I mean, a lot of sports to watch, and it's been pretty fun.
What's been crazy is the NHL for me. I mean, then I did want to start before we get into the show a little bit. That that Pete Rose is getting his lifetime ban removed.
Yeah, very interesting time to go through that process. I think. I mean, for Rob Manfred, I think that's just kind of I get his reasoning for it, but I mean, I think it's a little too late for that process, and I still think you're going to get people who don't like the at least voters for the Hall of Fame who may not like the Pete Rose dilemma. So, I mean, we'll even see if it ends up mattering at this point, but we probably won't see him hit the Hall of Fame for like another 3 or 4 years, if that.
Yeah, that's true. And it's pretty interesting to say because they said it was a lifetime ban, and it actually was a lifetime ban. I mean, he did pass away from us, but his family could still see him get in the hall and have that moment for their entire family and for the Rose name. It'd be pretty interesting to see, especially with a lot of the kids, with him being especially one of the best ball players we've seen in modern day era. I mean, you can't deny that his play talent on the field was impeccable. Like,
There weren't many people that came close to him.
and it is true. That is true. So we're gonna jump right into the show. We're gonna start off with the NFL schedule release. Well, the NFL has finally released all the games and times for games. What games stand out the most to everyone, and what shocked you the most? I mean, for me, it's actually Bears Vikings week 1 on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I mean, they're putting a lot of these conference games at the forefront this year. I mean, as you said, Bears Vikings will play right away. The Packers play the Lions in week 1. It's the first time, by the way, that the Packers will start the season at home under Matt LaFleur's tenure. So that should be interesting to see how that plays out. But it's a tough string for the Packers right away. They got the Lions right away. They'll end up having the Commanders in week 2 on a 4-day rest. And then after that, I mean, they have Dallas at some point in the season. They'll have the Eagles. They may run into Aaron Rodgers if he finally signs with the Steelers. It's going to be a long road for the Packers, and a lot of people who I've already talked to kind of see it as
Kind of cut out, but I will say that was interesting. Oh, there he goes. What was actually crazy and interesting is that out of the first 7 weeks, you got 3 Monday Night Football games that are double headers.
yeah, man. I think that's probably honestly, it's probably a good thing for the NFL to be able to put more games in prime time like that, and it really just allows for each team to kind of get their say and some more than once on Monday night. I think the Packers only have the one, but I mean, other than that, it's interesting to see. But we'll see how it all plays out. And man, football right around the corner again, just like that. And I mean, we got like 3 months before we see anyone hit the field, but to just have this piece of it done uh, gets the gears going for next year still.
Well, we also got the Sunday night schedule right here. I like that. Well, the Packers got 2 Sunday Night Football games, and the Washington Commanders got 2 Sunday Night Football games. What's crazy is because the Bears have 2 Monday Night Football games.
Yeah, and then they don't play Sunday night until week 17. And they get the Niners there.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like when you have 2 Monday Night Football games. I mean, it's going to be tough to actually be able to put some Sundays in there because you don't want to put them on prime time every single week. We still want to be
Exactly.
able to get other teams in, and you still have Patrick Mahomes, so he got 3 Sunday night football games, and yeah, so it's really something. I mean, you
Yeah,
don't
that's
see
the
this.
money
I mean,
grab.
the crazy thing is that the Saints don't even have a primetime game.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a very difficult situation right now where, like you said, they don't have that primetime game. They don't know who their quarterback is now after the draft, and it's different from when they thought it would be before the draft. So they're probably working through their own battles right now, and I'm sure the last thing that those fans are worried about is the schedule release, because I feel like in order to have high hopes for the season, they really got to believe that they're going to try and make a push for Aaron Rodgers. Otherwise, it's not going to be much smooth sailing other than that.
What's also interesting about it is that the Cleveland Browns don't have a Monday night or a Sunday night football game. So you're going to end up possibly seeing Shador Sanders at some point, and he won't even be on primetime.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the Browns end up doing with that quarterback situation. They got a kind of a weird pick your five, whatever ends up being the situation. They're going to go with it. I doubt that we'll see the same quarterback or maybe even the same 2 quarterbacks throughout the season. I think we could see more. I think we could see 3 to 4 potentially, just depending on how things shake out. But I guess my follow up question to you is, I know it would probably have been pretty hard to watch all 32 schedule release videos, but were there any that stuck out to you? Any that you liked over the other ones?
I like how they waited. I mean, I like how they waited to put the Bears. Like I was telling my dad this. I like how they waited to put Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels toward the middle of the season, because at first people, I think it might have been some random people or something like that. They were dropping schedules and it wasn't the right schedule, and somebody had the Bears playing the Commanders on week 1. I absolutely did not like that, because when you're coming out with a new offense, a new scheme, there's going to be a lot of misconnection, a lot of uh, a lot of new people. Not as much familiarity with each other. They're not going to play much in preseason, and if they are, they're not really doing much. They're going to be doing just a little, basically like walkthroughs, so they won't get hurt. Um, so really, week 1 is the actual first true test of the Ben Johnson era, and I just want to wait for those kind of games, those kind of storyline kind of games, and towards till like around week 4 and on. You know, give them about, basically, really, you're giving them about a month, almost week 3 weeks, to really settle into their offense and see what kind of, because by week 4, week 5, you'll know the kind of team you have. You already know what kind of team you're going to be able to run out on the field. So I'm just thinking, like, this is probably the best case scenario for them to play the Vikings in week 1. The Vikings are also starting out with someone brand new, JJ McCarthy. You're going to have 2 teams starting out with brand new offensive systems, and I mean, it'd be a good primetime game. But I just like how they waited to give the public Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams part 2 toward the middle of the season, so both teams could actually be okay. There would be no excuses at this point if when they play each other.
Yeah, and as I look at the Bears schedule, I also just picked out that the Bears and the Packers both got that early bye week 5, which
Yeah,
I mean I'm personally not a fan of
I'm
as
not a
a
fan,
someone who
but
supports the Packers, but I think when you look at this schedule, I think it's very. I mean, you look at the first 3 weeks; those are all marquee games, and then you get a little bit of a stretch where you probably until week 8, where you should. I think you could end up being 3-3 before you go into Baltimore. And then it could be pretty difficult from there. At least for that stretch, I think you can go get. If I'm looking at this just based on first glances of everything, is this? I think it's at very minimum a 8 and 9 season at the very minimum. And this is a team where if you have some of those set year 2 guys step up, if Caleb Williams starts finding his guys in the end zone, and if there's a little bit more help for him on the offensive line, one or two more guys can get to the quarterback on defense, I think that's a scenario that could lead them to at least an 11-6 season potentially.
Yeah, I mean they're supposed to have one of. That's why they put them on a lot of primetime games because they think that Caleb Williams is going to take that jump with Ben Johnson, so they're anticipating Bears actually being good, which is not a bad thing at all. Especially if you're the city of Chicago, we've been waiting for this for years. I mean, when has we had the last time where the Bears have been anticipated to be good? Not oh they exceeded expectation, or oh our expectations are low but they exceeded them again, or we had high expectations, but they failed to perform, and the NFL already saw right through it. This is the first time that I think in a long time, I want to say since they had that Super Bowl run when the Bears were actually primetime TV to watch, when they were actually, the fans know and think they're going to be good, and then now the NFL think they're going to be good. So this is the first time we've actually seen in a long time that the Bears have been put up by the league to say, okay, this team might actually be exciting to watch. So let's put them on a lot of prime time, and let's make some money off of it. Especially with the city of Chicago, and you have the, you have the Bears emblem. It's historical, and so I want to get your thoughts on what you think about the Packers schedule, though.
Yeah, well, as I was looking at that, as I mentioned before, I'm not a big fan of the Week 5 bye week. I think that it could be another situation where it's rough sailing out the get-go. I think that the Lions at home and the Commanders at home are two of the toughest home games you can have in the NFC. So, and to get those back-to-back from Sunday to Thursday of those first few weeks is going to be a tough turnaround. I think they lose at least one of those. So, and then I think they bounce back against the Browns. Cowboys, that's an interesting one in Jerryland. We'll see how that goes. I could see that one going either way. I think they beat the Bengals, Cardinals. Steelers could be interesting depending on the quarterback situation. And then at home, I think they beat the Panthers. The Eagles, another tough home game. If these tough teams can come in and play in Lambeau, that's going to be a recipe for disaster. But on Monday night, I think that the Packers could take that one home and get their revenge finally. So I think the way that I looked at it was like 11-6 to finish the season. I think they go 3-3, drop one to each division foe. And I think it's going to be incredibly close in the NFC North. I don't think there's going to be a team with less than 7 wins. I don't think there's going to be a team with more than 11 or 12. I think whoever gets to that 12 is going to be the top team in that division. But I think that with last year, we weren't tested very much as a division in outer division games. Obviously, it was a dogfight as soon as NFC North teams ran into each other, but it seemed like everywhere else, everybody was like 700 win percentage. So it's going to be interesting to see how it officially shakes out this year. I think there's a lot more challenges coming our way, and I think that's designed by the NFL.
Do you feel that preseason should be abolished?
I think preseason is a great opportunity, I guess, just to start for the fans, because especially when you think about Lambeau, at least there's those regular season games are pretty expensive, and I think that's a great opportunity to get fans in the stadium for cheap, to get some sort of football. I get there's not a push to put your best guys on the field for those games, but I still think that provides another open opportunity for younger guys to get their shine, for people to try and make their names for themselves, especially some of these rookies. There's a lot of guys that will be fighting for a spot. And I think that the preseason is the best way to let those guys have a real shot at getting on those 53-man without going beyond the practice field, because we've all heard about the stories of the practice room warriors who do everything right, and they seem like they're the best fit. Everything looks great until they get the lights put on them, and then all of a sudden everything changes. And I obviously never pray for that, but it's something that happens on occasion. So I think it's a way to weed out some of the guys who are not ready for the limelight. I think it's a way for other people to step up. I think it's a great way for fans to get in the building. And I think it's more football in the end. So I think it's just a great opportunity to welcome them back. I'm glad that we're down to 3 games now. I don't think that everybody needed the full 4. But I think that to be able to get 3 games in the building, get at least 1 in your house every year, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I think it should go down to 2, personally. 1 game on the road, 1 game at home, and then just start the season. You know, that's just how I feel. Yeah, people say maybe the schedule is getting a little too long, as we've seen on the NBA side, but we'll get into that in a second. But some people are probably saying the NBA, I mean the NFL season is too short, so they added another game and you know got rid of the 4 weeks. So I think they should add 1 more. Um,
I
maybe
mean, I
give them
get that too.
maybe if you add 1 more, give them 2 bye weeks. You know.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that too. I think that there should probably be 2 bye weeks anyways, because especially as I mentioned, Bears and Packers bye week in week 5. By week 14, I bet you both of those training rooms are going to be loaded with football players, and that's going to be, I think that would be the perfect thing where you have like maybe a universal bye. And that's where you put
Yeah.
like the Pro Bowl or something like that, where you just like around week 14 or 15, like when it's already cold, like think like not Thanksgiving week, because obviously that has its whole tradition, but maybe like 2 weeks later in like mid-December, you go and you send everybody down to Hawaii and they have your Pro Bowl game there. I get that might be tough because people are probably still locked in for their season trying to get back, but
Well, no,
I
because
think
they actually, if you think about the MLB, all the other leagues, they all have their All Star games during season. They have an All Star break.
yeah, and really, but the other thing is all those All-Star games are kind of falling apart. And the NBA one this year, I think you'd agree was a little despicable. But I think that there's just too many people who'd be locked in on their season to do that. But at the very least, I think you could get a universal bye and you could find a way to at least keep those players engaged for that week where maybe they're not hitting each other, but maybe it's just like they get time to do something else. And I think that even would bolster teams' opportunities to stay healthy. And I think it would be create a better product for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think that that Pro Bowl would work mid season, in my opinion, because you know no one is really caring about the Pro Bowl when the season is over. No one
Mhm.
wants to get hurt. No one. You're not even having the best players in there, like 2 Super Bowl players, 2 Super Bowl teams. Um, so I think it'd be a fair shake for people to actually use their All Star nods during the season. So,
That's fair.
um,
I think
so
bottom line, the NHL is the only all-star game that's set up pretty well. I think everybody else has work to do.
yeah. So jumping to our next topic, which is the Celtics forcing a game 6. No Jason Tatum, no problem. The Celtics whooped the New York Knicks 127-102. Derek White. Derek White, yeah, that's right. He dropped 34 points. Jaylen Brown put up 26 points and 12 assists. They played some defense with Cornette having 7 blocks. 7. Anunoby and Bridges were held to 15 points combined and 5 for 26 from the field between the two. That's terrible. New York don't win games. If New York don't win game 6, they're in serious trouble. For the Warriors, they're just not good enough without Steph, in my opinion, at the moment. I mean, they just don't look the same. Obviously, they got bounced last night in 5 to Anthony Edwards, who grabs another Infinity Stone. Um, which people are saying that Steph shouldn't be included in that because he only played 13 minutes of the series, which I agree. You didn't really beat Steph Curry. You beat all of the teammates of Steph Curry. And then the Pacers, gentlemen sweep the Cavs.
Mhm.
So what's next as we look at this bracket?
Well, I'll start with that Celtics game. How about Luke Cornett, dude? 7 blocks, is lighting it up, running the pick and roll. That dude was doing everything in that game. And I mean, good for them. I mean, with their backs against the wall, the best thing you can do is fight in that situation. And now, I mean, this is going to be a tough one coming up. They go back to the Garden, and I think I think the Knicks take it there. But I mean, the Celtics, they have been good enough where if 2 games go another way where they're up 20, I mean they're in the conference finals already. But I think that I don't think you can rule the Celtics out just because of their offensive prowess. And those are guys that can light up the scoreboard from 5 or 6 different people that aren't named Jason Tatum. Obviously, that was a huge loss, but I think with the Knicks situation, it would be a tremendous failure to not make it to the conference finals at this point, even if the Celtics still can put up 120 points a game. I think if you are a real predator in the league, I think you go for the kill whenever you get the chance. And I think to do it in the Garden in front of your home fans is the best way to do it, because if you can't do it there and you let it get back to the Garden, people are going to get really freaking nervous. And that is going to be a bad sign for New York fans if that gets to that point. And really, for me, I think the Knicks, I don't know, man. It's both of those teams, I think, could beat the Pacers. I think that the Celtics have, if the Pacers weren't on such a hot streak, I think the Celtics overall as a team are still a little more talented than the Pacers, even without Jason Tatum. And Tyrese Halliburton's doing his thing and Siakam's doing his thing. That team's set up just fine. And I think that with their momentum, they're a better team right now. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how the Eastern Conference shakes out. I'm not willing to put my money on any one of those 3 teams to make the finals yet, just because of how close it is. I obviously got to say the Celtics are on the lower hand of it, just because of the situation they're in now. But that was a convincing win last night, and this is going to be a truth teller here in Game 6. But if you want to pull that bracket back up, we'll look at the Western Conference. It's obviously I've been a Wolves lover for the last few years. Anthony Edwards, I think he's the truth. And you can give it the caveat that Steph Curry wasn't playing, and I totally get that.
Well, they were up 10 when Steph Curry went out.
Yeah, and we saw it in that first round and when the limited time that he got in the semifinals. But Steph Curry is the truth, and that's a guy who can wreck a game. And him being off the court, you could tell it truly impacted how the Warriors were playing. And I think that was one of those situations where Anthony Edwards just put his nose down, went to work. It wasn't even really all by himself that all this work was getting done. He was obviously the face of that franchise, but I think that he's gotten a lot of help so far. And I really don't know if we've seen the best version of Anthony Davis yet in these playoffs. Or not Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards. My apologies. On the other side, man, that series on that top side of that bracket is popcorn. The Thunder, the Nuggets.
I think 7,
yeah, and well, if we think about it, it is going back to OKC. That's kind of a similar situation to where we are with the other.
Well, no, I think it's going back to Denver.
Oh yes, it is Denver. My apologies. That's going to be. I think it's OKC. I think OKC gets it done in Game 6. It's hard to rule out the Nuggets, but I think that OKC has something to prove. And that's why I feel like I hate that I don't want to take them over the Wolves. I really like the Wolves. But the Thunders, I feel like they got to be hungry for something here. And if they don't get it done at this point, it's going to be really hard to get that momentum back, I think. So I think at this point, out of all these teams, call me lame for saying the only other 1 seed left, but this is their finals to lose at this point. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, though.
Well, for the Thunder, they can't come out flat. They come out flat, they might lose a series, because there's no way I would not take Jokic in a Game 7 at all. There would be no way I'm not taking Jokic in a Game 7.
That's proper.
That's just the same. That's the same thing with the Knicks. When we talk about the Knicks, you don't win at home. The Knicks do not win. They're going to lose in 7.
I agree with that one.
If the Knicks do not win in Madison Square Garden, they're going to lose in 7. You're not going back to Boston. You're not going to go back to. I don't care if Jason Tatum is not playing. You're not going to go back to Boston and win.
Dare I say this Game 6 might be the most important of the last decade for them. This might be the most important singular game that they play.
I think at least for both, for the Thunder and the Knicks. Because if you're the Thunder, You don't win tonight. Yes, you're going back home, but how many people is going to trust you to win in Game 7? We've seen Jokic do it.
I think a lot more people still trust the Thunder more than they would trust the Knicks if they let the Celtics
Oh
come
yeah,
back.
of course, 100%. You would trust the Thunder 1,000 more percent than the Knicks would in a Game 7. Like we just seen New Cornette have 7 blocks, and they held Bridges and Ananobi to 5 for 26 shooting. Like it's absolutely insane. And when you look at the Pacers, I think the Pacers could possibly win it all the way they're playing right now.
They are really hot, dude. They're very set up and everything's kind of going their way at this point. They just put a whooping on the Cavs. And I think that if you look at their outlook there's questions about both the Celtics and the Knicks. So I think that the Pacers could ride that momentum to the finals at the very least. I don't know if they could win it per se, but I think that they could at least make that appearance. And I mean, I think that's a credit to their general manager for building this team that's been to 2 conference finals already.
The one thing I can say is when you look at the teams that win the finals, you got your star player that plays well. Then you have all of his supporting cast playing well. That is the Pacers at this moment.
100%.
When you look at the Knicks, Jalen Brunson don't play well, they lose.
Yeah. And
Just look at Ananobi and Bridges. Yeah, they're not offensive bag scorers, but you're supposed to be a helpmeet to Brunson. Brunson can't have 40 every night. When you look at the Celtics, they don't have Jason Tatum anymore. And the Pacers aren't the Knicks. They play
they still put up
double team.
130 if they need to.
Right. They've still Tyrese can put up 30 and then Nembhard them can come in with 15, 11, 12. Like they have so much offensive scoring. Yeah, I think and they lock it down on the defensive end sometimes too. They've gotten better defensively since last postseason. So when you look at them and the Minnesota Timberwolves have the same mold over the last few champions. The last few champions have had their star players play well, and they've had their supporting cast play well, defensively and offensively. The Timberwolves, they'll lock you down. You know, Anthony Edwards did not play well at all in the first half of what was that Game 1? He played terrible.
He has not had a great postseason so far. He's been okay. He's been fine. He hasn't been that like cold-blooded killer yet, I don't think. And I think he's saving it. I think he knows what he's got behind him. He knows that he's got to have some for at least 8 more games to 8 more wins. And don't get me wrong, I like teams in the East, but I think whoever wins that Western Conference Finals will be the NBA Finals champion.
Actually, yeah, I can agree with that. Whoever comes out the West, I think is going to win the finals. But the reason I say the Pacers can win it all is because they play just like the West. They can play defense, they play lockdown, and they score when they have to. When you look at the Knicks, they haven't shown me at all this postseason that I should believe in them to be able to even go to the finals. I didn't even believe them to come out of the Boston series, and now it's 3-2. If they don't win tonight, you might be calling them another choke job.
Yeah, I don't know what that would do for Knicks fans. I think that they might riot at that point if they can't get out of this series with Jason Tatum out indefinitely, and they've had a couple of comebacks already in the series. I mean, the Celtics haven't had a bad game yet. Let's get that straight first.
Yeah, they haven't had a bad game. I mean, if you look
they've
at the
had
whole
bad
series,
quarters, but never a bad game.
Yeah, if you look at their whole they've had multiple 20+ leads going into like the fourth quarter.
They've had 4 20+ leads in the series in 5 games.
In 5 games. What makes me think that y'all are going to even be able to? What makes me think that I could trust y'all to even beat them? Yes, they choked once or twice, but they've played 5 games where they played up to 20. They've beat you twice in those games.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the Knicks, it's just this game 6 is paramount to take home, and I think that they could really I think it'd be a clean reset as soon as they get the win here. If not, then there's a real problem at hand. And the one thing that the Knicks are also another conversation that the Knicks have brought up, Knicks fans, is the fact that they dropped 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, and 1 year before Giannis hits the market too. So I think that they would have much rather held on to those picks and then dropped a couple more pieces in to go and get Antetokounmpo. But I mean, as a Bucks fan, I think he's going to stay. But I think if we look at just general who could offer the best package, 1 year ago, the Knicks might have been in that conversation. And I think if you paired him with Brunson and Towns, I think you would have had to give up a couple of those pieces, like a Hard and a couple picks. But I mean, they would have had a big 3 right there.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have a lot of the. It's going to be very interesting as we come down the stretch, especially tonight where you got Nuggets and Thunder tonight, which will be something interesting to see, and which we'll probably know who tonight we'll probably we could end up knowing who goes to the Western Conference Finals or face the Wolves. So we're going to jump into our last topic of the day, which is the NHL check-in. On the NHL side, it never disappoints.
Yeah, no kidding.
The
There's a lot going on.
Florida Panthers absolutely destroyed the Toronto Maple Leafs. 6-1 last night. It was 6-0 before Robertson scored a goal with 1:06 to go left in the game. This series is over for the Toronto Cowboys. Maple Leafs. My bad. Unreal. 3 straight losses after being up 2-0 in the series. The Stars rise up. The Stars rise up against Winnipeg for a 3-1 lead, and so my pick might be incorrect, sadly. But the Oilers, they win it in overtime to take the series against the Vegas Golden Knights. We do have a clip of their old overtime win.
Up Nurse, shoots, save made by Hill. He does a snow angel in the blue paint. It's on the goal line, score! It's over. The series is over. The Edmonton Oilers win it in overtime.
That was electrifying to see, and it was actually hectic and insane because there was so much stabbing at the puck that no one actually could see it go through, actually. So it was something to see for sure, I will say.
Yeah, and well, I was watching that live when I got home last night. I'm an Oilers guy, and so that my first thought though at that point was that had to have been the longest 3 to 5 seconds of that goalie's life because the puck is not moving. Nobody can get to it. He's trying to work back to a position to get in front of it, and he can't quite get it. And then at that point, it's just a bull rush after that. And that's really how the Oilers got it done in the series was they were just being overly aggressive at the right angles, and they were able to pull through. And I think that was just another way to prove that they're going to be a problem, especially the rest of the postseason. I think they're back for more. I think they at least make the Stanley Cup Finals. And I mean, this looks like they're going to get the Stars, who they really have not had quite a problem with this year. So give me the Oilers to go all the way, and that's 100% biased, 100%. But yeah, give me the Oilers. They're lighting it up.
That's who I'm thinking is going to win it too. I do believe that. The Oilers might win it all. I do think that they might just win the whole thing this year. As for the Toronto,
don't give us the Panthers again. Good Lord.
As for the Toronto Cowboys, all you can do is just shake your head at it.
Oh, what a fold, guys! This is the Toronto Maple Leafs at the finest. They have never been able to really put it all together, and they have the pieces to do it. This is I guess my best comparison would be like those Atlanta Hawks teams that had Al Horford and Jeff Teague and won 62 games. couldn't get it done in the postseason. That's exactly what this Toronto team is. I mean, Austin Matthews, arguably a top 5 player in the league. He's played 10 games against the Panthers in his career. He hasn't scored a goal against them yet. It's just silly. It doesn't make any sense. And that wimpy goal at the end when they're already down 6, that was the first goal they had scored since game, I think it was 3. It was 143 and a half minutes straight that they had not scored a goal. So that is more than 2 games. I think it would have been the first period of game 3 or something like that. But that absolutely is unacceptable for the Maple Leafs. And now I believe it goes to Florida. So I can't believe I'm saying that, but the Panthers are going to go back in again. And I think that, on the other side of things, Canes look great too. They're up 3-1 on the Caps right now. They could take that thing home tonight. So we'll see how that all shakes out. But I could see Canes Oilers final. I hope it's Canes because God, if we run into the Panthers again, I don't know what I'd do with myself.
Yeah, you all run into the Panthers. That's probably the worst case scenario. They just got you outnumbered at the moment. But Toronto Maple Leafs are just, I don't want to say they're a disappointment, but this is very, very disappointing. Like, this is really bad.
It's a blunder. It's a all around blunder for that team, and they can't figure it out. And the momentum's gone. They just got bullied on your home ice by 6, by 5 technically, but it was by 6. There was nothing they were able to do.
It sucks because they've played well great all season. This is like the Cavs. I guess the regular season doesn't mean a thing. That is just standings to create. That's just rankings to create. That's just seeding to create for the playoffs. Once the playoffs get started, it's literally a new season.
100%.
We've seen it firsthand. How many times have we seen 60, 58, 55 plus win teams win the finals? You don't see it too often because it's a new season. It's a different level of competition than playing in every night, in and day out. Some people play in some of the weakest conferences and some of the weakest divisions, to where you see teams 2-3 times a year. That's 2 or 3 wins. That's like 9-10 wins right there versus bad teams.
And I think the NHL, more than any other league at this point, there's so many teams. All the teams in the playoffs are much closer together than if you look at, like, obviously the NBA, you're getting the 1 and 8. That's usually the one making it through without a problem. If you get the 1 and the 4 from each division, that's a recipe for sometimes an upset. And the Oilers, they were the 3rd seed in their division. They knocked out the Kings. They knocked out the Knights, the 2-1. Now they're going to have to run into either the Jets or the Stars. But the Stars have looked great in the playoffs, so that's the one thing that could be a momentum rider for them. But it's going to be interesting.
Taking a look at the updated bracket, you see Edmonton is obviously the first team in to conference finals. That's on the Western Conference side. You should see Dallas coming in there within the next few days, possibly by the time the weekend is over, you might end up seeing Dallas in there. And then you got, the Carolina Panthers. Not the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Hurricanes playing the Washington Capitals. That series is over. As much as I love Ovechkin, they're just being simply outplayed. The Hurricanes are just absolutely dominating them on every facet of the ice. And then you got, Florida coming down from a 2-0 lead by the Toronto Maple Leafs to win 3 straight games. Like, that kind of stuff right there deflates you as a team. You're up 2-0. You're sitting happy. We're just 2 victories away. They got to win 4 straight, and they throw up 3.
And well, it's crazy because, this bracket, very much so, as you could see in some spots, looks very similar to that NBA playoff bracket where it's that team where you look at the Panthers, they're coming up. they're down in plenty of games. They've let their offense show. They're getting the momentum up, and they're looking like they're going to make a run to the finals. And I think that you see that there. You see the Oilers coming up from the bottom. That's kind of like a Timberwolves comparison where they haven't quite gotten it done yet. You got to get your get back or you're going to lose time. You got kind of, I mean, you could see the Nuggets comparison a little bit in, if you look at that top left, if you look at the Dallas Stars, I mean, it's very similar kind of pedigree. I mean, they don't have the finals run to kind of pair with it, but where it's you go in against that one seed and you go and you scrap and you battle and you have those pieces that could take you over the top. So I think there's a lot of very eerie comparisons. I think that it plays out a little differently in the NHL. I think they're a little closer, as I mentioned before, but I don't know. We just got to let it ride out. It's all fun games at this point. There's not a bad team left.
Yeah, no. So Shifley and Perfetti of the Jets, they got a lot of work to do ahead of themselves to even think about coming back in this series. Jason Robertson and Nico Rantanen, I'll tell you. Duchesne and those boys over there for Dallas, they're a problem. They are a problem. So we're going to jump into our final thoughts. What are your final thoughts of the day?
Oh gosh, my final thoughts. It might be time to close the book on the Brewers for this season. It's at least early. It is early, but I mean I haven't seen anything impressive since April. They've been going and getting 1 out of 3 games in multiple series against the Guardians, the Rays, and I mean on top of it,
the Rays series is not good.
Yeah. Well, and if you look at this division, the Cubs, as we've seen, have looked great. They have that. I mean, the argument for Pete Crow Armstrong is growing as a comparison to Chourio. I think a lot of people loved Chourio in April, but Chourio swings at everything that looks like it could be a strike, and he doesn't hit it anymore. And he's got to make some adjustments and get back on his game. Yelich hasn't looked quite the same yet. Thank goodness William Contreras is working it out. Rhys Hoskins is working it out, but that's not going to be enough for this team. The Cubs look great. The Cardinals went on an 8-game tear, but that puts the Brewers in an oddball situation where they're working from the ground up. And they obviously won 93 games last year, but you could argue they're not as good. They don't have the same talent. I could see them ending up with maybe 84, 85 wins and missing the playoffs. And it's disappointing, but it's because it's a good team. It's a fun team. It's a young team. They just might not have it with the amount of talent that you can see around the National League. This isn't even the toughest division. I mean, you got the Giants, the Dodgers, the Braves, the Phillies. It's going to be the Diamondbacks. It's going to be chaos down the line. I didn't even mention the Padres yet. The Brewers might not even be a top half team in the National League.
Yeah, I mean,
they don't have the pitching.
Still early. I mean, it's still early. You got 2 halves of the season. As we all know, everybody can turn it around within a matter of weeks. You know, especially in baseball. But yeah, the Cubs have looked very well, very great. They look like a World Series contender at this moment. And it's actually insane because they don't even have 2 of their best arms throwing. You know, Steele's done for the season, and Imanaga's on a 15-day, and you know we haven't even talked about who they're gonna get at the deadline yet. So the sky's the limit for those guys over there. I mean, Kyle Tucker. I mean, I tell you, man, could you imagine if they? I just tell people, could you imagine if they had Bellinger on that lineup?
Yeah,
oh my God,
that would be the same. Would not be the same. Oh my God,
like if they had Bellinger in that lineup with Tucker, with the lineup the way it's constructed now, Bellinger at first and then Bush at third, and then everything else stays the same. Yeah, I'm telling you, you could end up probably having a serious World Series run. Like you have 2 superstar bats right next to each other. So I mean, I ain't gonna say they messed that up because you know they're playing well, and you know we still don't have a third baseman. So that's the only downside of the Bellinger trade.
I think they're willing to go and grab a piece, though. And really, even if you leave their base alone, I think that a bigger priority is pitching depth.
Yeah, that's got to definitely be priority. But my final thoughts will probably be WNBA starts tomorrow, which is I'm actually kind of pumped for. I'm ready to see Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, Asia Wilson, and Jewel Lloyd paired with Asia Wilson and the New York Liberty running it back. I'm ready to, and then the Valkyries, the Golden State Valkyries. That's ready. It's an exciting time of the year for women's basketball too, especially at the end of the season. You'll have 2 new teams in the league. Like, I mean, it's very exciting to see, and I'm ready for it.
Typically, when I'm new to a sport, I pick one of those expansion teams to kind of hop on as a fan. But I think I'm taking Chicago just because of how close it is and how exciting that team looks to be. I think that's a team that I'm going to start hopping on for the future here, and it's not too far down the road. So let's go Sky. Let's go Sky.
I obviously support my teams. Love the Chicago Sky, obviously, but I'm also a Caitlin Clark fan. So I'm not going to say that I'm a Fever fan. No, I'm a Caitlin Clark fan. So whatever team she's on, I want them to win. I'm not like the LeBron sexuals where, Cavs, or Lakers. No, bro. I'm a Caitlin Clark fan. If I'm a Caitlin Clark fan. Whatever team she's on, I'm rooting for. I'm not going to be, I'm a diehard Fever. Let's go Fever. No, I'm not doing that. Let's go team, win the games.
You can be a Tom Brady fan without being a Buccaneers fan. So
right,
or
that's
a
what
Patriots
I'm saying.
fan.
So yeah, I'm a Caitlin Clark fan, and obviously I pay a lot of close attention to the Fever, and that's one of the teams I watch a lot. So with that, that's the end of the show. We'll be back on tomorrow, hopefully. In case something else changes, we'll let y'all know if anything changes or not. If we won't be on, subscribe, like, share, and comment. Follow our podcast page on all platforms. We have it on Spotify. We have Instagram, TikTok. In the description box below, we will post reels of the show, shorts of the show, polls. And if you always got anything you want to talk to us about, you can always DM us. We'll answer your questions and your comments. So with that, this has been Shot of Sports, and we'll see you next time.